Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever had that gut feeling that someone doesn't like you but you're just not sure? Maybe they've been polite, maybe they've even smiled at you, but deep down something doesn't feel quite right. Well, today we're going to dive into something a little more complex. How to tell if someone dislikes you and is hiding it. It's not always easy to spot these signs because some people are really good at masking their true feelings. But body language, tone, and subtle actions often speak louder than words. So, in today's video we're going to break down 12 signs that someone might actually dislike you, even if they're pretending otherwise. Understanding these signs can help you better navigate your relationships, whether it's with a colleague, a friend, or even someone in your family. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot these behaviors and understand what they really mean. So, grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive into these subtle yet powerful signs that someone might be hiding their true feelings. Ready? Let's get started. Sign number 1. Avoiding eye contact. Let's start with a classic, avoiding eye contact. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've heard this one before. But there's a reason why this is one of the first signs to look for. Eye contact is a major social cue, and it's something we can't fake for too long. When someone is actively avoiding eye contact, it could be because they're uncomfortable with you or don't want to engage emotionally. Humans tend to make eye contact when they're interested, engaged, or feeling a connection with someone. But if you notice that someone is consistently looking away, looking at the floor, or focusing on their phone when you're speaking to them, it could be a sign that they're emotionally distancing themselves. This might not be a deliberate act of disrespect, but rather a subtle way of avoiding you. They might not want to reveal how they truly feel. It's important to note, however, that cultural differences can play a big role here. In some cultures, avoiding eye contact is seen as a sign of respect or humility. So, if you're dealing with someone from a different cultural background, it's good to be mindful of those differences. But in general, if you feel like the person you're talking to is avoiding your gaze, it could be a red flag. Now, let's look at some other signs you might notice if someone is trying to hide their true feelings. Sign number 2, closed body language. Next up is closed body language. This is one of the most obvious signs that someone might be uncomfortable, and it often means they're trying to protect themselves emotionally. When someone dislikes you, they might unconsciously block themselves off by crossing their arms or turning their body away from you. This kind of body language tells you a lot about how they feel on an emotional level. When someone is truly comfortable with you, their body language will generally be more open. They might face you directly, have their arms relaxed by their sides, and engage in friendly gestures like nodding or leaning in slightly. But when they're hiding their true feelings, they might unconsciously turn away from you, or their arms might be crossed tightly in front of them, as though they're physically trying to create distance. Body language is a powerful tool in communication, and these signs are often subconscious. So, if you see someone consistently turning away from you or closing off their body posture, it could indicate that they're feeling emotionally distant or that they're actively trying to protect themselves from your presence. They might not want to confront their negative feelings, so they hide them through these subtle movements. Sign number 3, short or curt responses. Let's talk about short or curt responses. Have you ever had a conversation where it feels like the person is giving you the bare minimum? They might respond with just a yeah, no, or I don't know, answers that are quick, direct, and don't invite any further discussion. This can often signal that they're not interested in engaging with you fully. Now, we all have moments when we're busy or distracted, but when someone consistently gives you short responses, especially when they could be offering more in a conversation, it might indicate that they're keeping you at arm's length. People who don't like you often use these curt responses as a way to avoid getting too emotionally involved or giving away too much of their true feelings. It's interesting because sometimes people might even use humor to mask this behavior, pretending everything is fine with a quick yeah, whatever, or a dismissive laugh. But pay attention. This is a sign that the person might be frustrated or not interested in you as much as they are letting on. Sign number 4, lack of genuine smiling. Now, let's talk about smiling, or rather, the lack of a genuine smile. Smiles can say a lot about how someone feels about you. A genuine smile, what psychologists call a Duchenne smile, involves the whole face, especially the eyes. It's a smile that comes from within, something you can often feel when a person is truly happy or excited to be around you. But what about when someone gives you a smile that seems forced or doesn't quite reach their eyes? This is one of the most common signs that someone is hiding their true feelings. They may smile just because they feel obligated to, but it's not the warm, genuine smile that indicates real affection. If someone is constantly giving you these tight-lipped smiles or seems uncomfortable when they're around you, it might be their way of covering up their negative feelings. People might smile out of politeness, but their body language or tone of voice might give them away. If someone's face doesn't light up when they see you, or their smile fades quickly, it's a good indicator that there's something off. Sign number 5. Passive-aggressive behavior. Let's dive into passive-aggressive behavior. This one can be tricky because it's not always obvious on the surface. Passive-aggressive behavior is when someone indirectly expresses negative feelings instead of addressing them openly. For example, they might give you the silent treatment, make snide remarks, or act overly polite while still showing resentment through their tone or actions. Imagine someone says something like, "Oh, I guess I'll just do it myself since no one else seems to care." While the words themselves may not be overtly hostile, the underlying message is clear. They're frustrated with you. Passive-aggressiveness can be a subtle way for someone to express dislike without directly confronting you. It's also important to notice when the passive-aggressive behavior seems to escalate over time. If they used to be more straightforward with you, but suddenly seem more sarcastic or distant, there's a chance they're hiding their feelings of frustration or resentment. Sign number 6. Unnecessary criticism. Moving on to unnecessary criticism. This is one of those behaviors that's often overlooked, but it's a strong sign that someone may secretly dislike you. We all know that constructive criticism is part of healthy relationships, but when someone starts pointing out every little flaw or imperfection, it can be a subtle way of distancing themselves from you emotionally. If a person seems to nitpick or exaggerate small issues, like constantly telling you how you could have done something better or criticizing your appearance, it could be a sign they're hiding their true feelings. This criticism is usually more about putting you down or creating emotional distance rather than helping you improve. The key here is to look for patterns. A single comment here or there might not mean much, but if it feels like they're consistently finding faults in you, it might be a defense mechanism to mask deeper feelings of dislike. Sign number 7. Overcompensating with compliments. Now let's talk about overcompensating with compliments. At first glance, it might seem like someone who dislikes you wouldn't bother to compliment you at all. But sometimes, people go the opposite route. They overwhelm you with compliments in an attempt to hide their true feelings. These compliments may feel exaggerated or insincere, like, "Wow, you're really good at that, aren't you?" Or "I wish I had your confidence." On the surface it might seem nice, but there's often something disingenuous about it. It's almost as if they're trying too hard to mask their true feelings by making you think they appreciate or admire you. The key here is to notice if the compliments feel excessive or out of place. They may be trying to convince both you and themselves that they're fine with you, even though their body language or tone may say otherwise. Sign number 8. Being too nice. Next we've got being too nice. We've all encountered people who go above and beyond to be polite or friendly, but if you feel like someone is being overly nice to you all the time, it might be a sign that they're hiding their true feelings. This kind of niceness can feel forced, like they're trying to cover up their dislike by being overly accommodating. People who dislike you might try to remain friendly in public settings, but their behavior might feel too scripted or artificial. For example, they might do things like nod excessively when you're talking, laugh a little too loudly at your jokes, or constantly try to make you feel comfortable, even though it seems out of place. This excessive niceness is often a sign that they're trying to mask their true emotions and maintain a sense of control. Sign number 9. Emotional withdrawal. Let's discuss emotional withdrawal. If someone is consistently pulling away from you emotionally, it could be a sign that they're hiding their dislike. Emotional withdrawal can manifest in various ways, like becoming less responsive to texts or calls, avoiding deep conversations, or just generally pulling away from any form of closeness. The key here is that they're not necessarily avoiding you physically, but they're withdrawing from any meaningful connection. This often happens when someone wants to distance themselves without causing a confrontation. They may still show up to social gatherings or be polite on the surface, but emotionally they're already checked out. Sign number 10. Overlooking personal boundaries. Another sign is when someone is overlooking your personal boundaries. When someone dislikes you but is hiding it, they may push your boundaries, whether it's invading your personal space, making unwanted jokes, or even prying into your private life. Normally, people who like you respect your personal boundaries and space. But when someone doesn't respect these limits, it's a sign that they're either not aware of the discomfort they're causing, or more likely, that they're trying to assert control in a way that hides their true feelings of dislike. Sign number 11. Increased fidgeting or nervous habits. Next up, we've got increased fidgeting or nervous habits. These are the physical signs of discomfort. If someone dislikes you and is trying to hide it, they may exhibit fidgeting, like tapping their foot, fiddling with their phone, or avoiding eye contact altogether. These nervous habits are usually subconscious signs of unease, indicating that they're uncomfortable around you. While some people naturally fidget, an increase in these behaviors when interacting with you can show that they're struggling to keep their emotions in check. Their body might be telling you that they're not entirely at ease. Sign number 12. Inconsistent communication. Lastly, we have inconsistent communication. This is when someone's texting, calls, or social media responses are unpredictable. Sometimes they're quick to reply, and other times it feels like pulling teeth just to get a response. If you notice a pattern of inconsistency, it could be that they're unsure about how to interact with you because of their hidden dislike. When someone dislikes you but is trying to keep it hidden, they might reach out when it's convenient for them, but avoid communication when they feel emotionally drained or disconnected. And that wraps up our list of the 12 signs that someone might dislike you but is hiding it. If you've noticed any of these behaviors, it's important to trust your instincts and think about the bigger picture. It might not always be easy to confront these feelings head-on, but understanding these signs can help you navigate your relationships with more awareness. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. If you've ever experienced someone hiding their true feelings, share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.